This is the Ecommerce Braintrust, a podcast about building momentum online for established consumer brands. Join our hosts and their expert guests for high-level conversations about e-commerce strategies, trends, and innovations. Access our Braintrust and boost your brand's e-commerce potential.
Hello and welcome to the Ecommerce Braintrust podcast. I'm Julie Spear, head of retail marketplace services at Acadia, alongside my co-host, director of retail account management, Jordan Ripley. And today we are joined by Kelsey Knight, who is the chief commercial officer at Slumberkins. Slumberkins is an emotional learning brand on a mission to empower children to be caring, confident, and resilient. And we had the opportunity to connect with Kelsey while we attended eTail East in Boston this past summer. She led an insightful conversation on the evolution of influencer marketing while at eTail East. And so today we're thrilled to welcome her to the show and have her share some of her takeaways from that discussion and learn more about her e-commerce journey with Slumberkins. So without further ado, Kelsey, it's great to see you again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you here. We have a lot to dig into, so we're just going to dive in and we're going to start at the beginning of everything, the beginning of your journey.
Of time. Of your time in the space.
Yes. Everybody just sit back and relax. Grab your coffee. Your background really does span a range of industries and business models, from high growth startups to private equity turnarounds. And now you're at a mission-driven consumer brand. Can you talk to us a little bit about what aspects of your journey ultimately led you to Slumberkins and what drew you to the company?
Absolutely. So for going all the way back to the beginning, I actually got my start in social media when that was just becoming a thing for businesses. And as social media became shoppable and was very clearly a part of the consumer journey, that spiraled into all things direct-to-consumer e-commerce, which is what's led me on this kind of wild ride. As I've looked at the different opportunities that I've had in my career, I've always tried to find something that would diversify my experience. So I spent 8 years in the precious metals industry, scaling 2 brands to 100 million profitably over my final 4 years there, before then venturing out into a different part of private equity into the gummy vitamin space, which was a very competitive, much lower AOV environment. And then after an exit there, found myself at Slumberkins, which I was drawn to this company for a lot of reasons, but the mission being at the core of the brand was really the driving reason. And then the team and the culture being the second, which are the 2 things that I keep close to my heart as I work on all of our D2C, Amazon, truly omni-channel business.
I have to think starting your career on the social side for precious metals, coming over here to Slumberkins and telling like this really nice story, it must feel like a bit of a relief to be on this side.
It is. You know, in precious metals, I always joke that I had to really get into the consumer mindset of a middle-aged, late-aged white male. And now...
Thank you. I will be there soon.
As a young college grad, had to truly start to understand them to be able to market to them. And now doing something that's a little bit closer to my personal passions and interests as well, which has been very different. But yes, it is a little bit of a relief for sure. Marketing commodities is a very unique business.
Yeah. I felt the inverse whenever I would manage beauty brands and I'd be like, oh yeah, cleansers. I know. Let me tell you everything I know about this. Let's talk a little bit about actually Slumberkins, the brand, because it is a really unique brand. It is a physical goods company, right? I mean, it sells products, it sells, what do you call do you call them plushes?
We refer to them lovingly as creatures. So
creatures, okay. Amazing.
The Slumberkins universe has 15 core creatures, and each creature represents a different emotional theme or skill. We were founded by a therapist and an educator. So each creature truly helps kids understand, identify, and communicate their feelings. Our top selling creature is Hammerheadkin. He's the most famous of the 15 creatures, and he helps little ones learn how to deal with feeling mad and calming down when mad. So we have a few different versions of him that kids just absolutely love.
I have to say that as previous career, talking about career paths a bit, previous career life before the beautiful world of retail marketplaces and retail media, for me was as an educator and a counselor. Learning more and more about Slumberkins, it's almost like a return to my roots in a lot of ways. So it's a really fascinating brand that has a very positive focus.
Oh, thank you. I understand that as well. I actually, before I became a communications major in college, was an elementary education major and then switched to communications and started out, even before social media, writing for Next Gen magazine, which is an education focused magazine. So it feels the same for me working in a
Return home.
full circle.
Someone who has a 4-year-old boy, it's 0% surprising that the dealing with anger one is your best selling. If it'll stop him from just throwing things unprovoked, then I'll buy it on this.
Nothing like a tantrum to drive a purchase.
Yeah. So you have these creatures, right? A physical item that you actually sell through retail channels. But then there's this whole sort of ecosystem around it of the social emotional learning and that sort of thing. We talked with a bunch of e-commerce leaders with various industries and various categories on here, and there's no kind of one size fits all approach to growth. You found, however, that influencer marketing, and this is something you spoke about at eTail, really has a nice fit with Slumberkins, the brand, the ethos, that sort of thing. And so I'm just wondering, like, can you break that down a little bit at why you're leaning into influencer, why you feel like this is the right channel for supporting your overall e-com goals?
Absolutely. So the brand actually got its start on social media and with influencers. Before that was a truly formatted and formulated marketing channel. Kaylee and Kelly would show up on their personal social media handles and share the creatures and hand sew them at their kitchen table and then sell them through Etsy and other means before they actually developed a Shopify site and really created this sophisticated business, which, yes, we sell a plush with 2 books. That's our core product offering, but it truly is an ecosystem. We have an Apple TV show. We have a music album. We have free resources on our site for teachers and parents and kids. And it really became this Slumberkins world. Going back to influencer, kind of like our career journeys, is kind of a return to home. And as we navigated what's been a challenging direct-to-consumer environment, I think for most brands out there, this became very clearly an opportunity to reconnect with our consumer one-to-one and spread the brand awareness and the messaging and the mission in a way that some of our paid channels and other more retention-focused channels just couldn't quite get in the same way as it coming directly from a true parent or a teacher that uses our product firsthand.
That makes sense. And we spoke about this a bit in Boston, but I think the challenge a lot of times with going from a sort of home-baked influencer thing where it's like, okay, we have founders that are active in the ecosystem. They're just reaching out to people, sending them product, and it's all organic and word of mouth. And then you've had to pivot into this thing that's like truly operational and a system that drives scale. Can you talk a little bit about making that pivot?
Absolutely. So this is something that we revamped this year that has been going very well. We're using a new tool. It's called Saral. I'm sure people out there will want to hear what that tool is, SARAL. Saral is basically an influencer discovery platform that also operationalizes the entire process. It scrapes from across the web to find influencers that are relevant to whatever criteria you put in, like hashtag or another influencer that's already in your ecosystem or even just your brand, and finds relevant profiles that then you can automate communication with. So we do all of our outreach. We crafted that one by one and then automated the outreach. And then when they opt in through email or DM, it automatically sends them our intro product as well as all of our creative briefing and anything that they need to know about the product to really introduce it in their home and experience it organically before sharing. And then all of that comes back to us in the platform when they tag us or mention our brand. There's a whole social listening aspect of this that then allows us to see that content and use that content across all of our channels as well. So all of the legal and less fun side of influencer is handled within this platform as well.
Does that platform offer insights, like reporting insights around impact of the campaigns, attribution? Because I know attribution in and of itself is one of the primary challenges with influencer marketing, and it can make it hard for you to figure out where to double down or adjust course. Do you get insights like that through the platform?
Definitely, yes. And that's something that we are continuously refining. So we have different KPIs that we track at different stages of the influencer program. So when we're just gifting, we have different seeding KPIs. So things like response rate from consumers, gift rate, how many opt in, and then eventually how many post. And then as we really pull them into the Slumberkins world, we're starting to look toward KPIs like post per influencer. So are they getting a gift and posting one time, or are they getting a gift and it's truly becoming a part of their lifestyle and showing up in their other content organically? We'll use their different tools, their social listening tool, impressions, reach. We can see that at the post level as well as at the campaign level. And we'll use that to assess how the campaign is performing. And then the other piece of this that has been a really big unlock for us is it's really simplified the process of getting content that we can use in paid advertising. We've strategically reduced our ad spend in Meta this year. And as we've started to introduce it a little bit more as we head into Q4, our top performing content is coming from our influencer or influencer affiliates. We really can see what's working organically and then lean into that from a paid perspective.
That's an interesting shift in terms of reducing your spend on Meta. Can you talk a little bit about what informed that decision?
Absolutely. I think, again, like most brands, just feeling frustrated by the media mix that's out there right now. It seems to be predominantly Meta and Google. I think AI is going to start to disrupt that a little bit. But in the meantime, we were really struggling to scale on Meta. We'd kind of hit a daily spend level and a daily return that we couldn't push any further and remain efficient. And for us, remaining first purchase profitable is a table stake when it comes to paid ad spend. So this year, we made the decision to divest in Meta and reallocate those dollars to our organic channels. One of those being influencers, some of that being email, organic social, organic search with the AI disruption that's happening there. We used the first half of this year to really invest in those channels that we knew we needed to invest in all along. But the reduction in Meta spend really allowed us to do that. And so we spent that time getting those channels healthy, working on our brand and creative, refining our messaging and our positioning. And we have since now gone back to Meta and started on a low spend, first purchase profitable. And we're seeing a stronger return than we were before we turned it off.
Interesting. What are the other things in addition to the sort of acquisition channels and paid media tactics that we've been discussing is sort of keeping the people in the environment of Slumberkins and the loyalty program that you've invested a lot this year? Loyalty programs can look at like all sorts of different things depending on the brand and what they're trying to accomplish. I think yours is a little bit different in terms of how you see it supporting the brand as a whole. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was to build out this loyalty program and what it's done for the Slumberkins brand?
Absolutely. We've had our loyalty program for a little bit longer than a year now. It is still at its core, you're earning points, and then you can redeem those points for purchases. You can redeem them as donations, and you can redeem them as free product. So at the core, it is still earn points and spend points. That being said, we know that what really drives loyalty is not just a click to follow us on Instagram or a sign up for our email. What drives loyalty is when teachers and parents get the product into their environment and experience it firsthand. So we've taken a little bit different of an approach with our loyalty program where we're using the features and functionality within Redeem, that's the platform that we're using, to really drive those behaviors. So for example, this summer we hosted a summer reading challenge. So for 4 weeks throughout the month of August, parents and teachers, whoever, could participate and post within our community platform a picture of them reading with their kids or a picture of them reading to their class or whatever. It didn't have to be Slumberkins. It was just read a book and each week and share that with our community. That created a ton of great UGC that we've used across channels as well, but also did encourage that behavior of reading Slumberkins. We didn't require it to be Slumberkins, but most of the content and most of the contributions were Slumberkins books. So we know that when you're reading with your child and you're having those conversations and you're interacting with the plush and you're really experiencing that on a regular routine basis, that's how you turn into a loyal customer and a loyal individual within our ecosystem and our community. So that's one challenge. We'll also have a Halloween challenge. We'll have one around the holidays, and then we'll have a setting routines and a daily feelings check-in as we go into the new year as well.
That's fostering the community, nurturing the community, and having your customers engage beyond the product is a key part of your overarching strategy. How do you marry that with your Amazon strategy? Amazon is a channel not necessarily about all community connection and all of that. You've said you're seeing consistent growth on that channel, which supports the physical product side of Slumberkins. How do you marry the different goals that you have as a business and fold your Amazon strategy into that?
Absolutely. We have been experiencing consistent growth on Amazon. We are shifting our strategy a little bit this year as well on that channel. So that channel remains a profitable channel for us. And that's table stakes within Amazon, is that that channel has to self-sustain profitably. That does make it difficult with some of the seller fees and all of those things that get baked into your margins there. That being said, we basically duplicate our catalog across both channels. So generally what you see on direct is also what you see on Amazon. There might be a few things here or there that are custom bundled on Amazon or direct to consumer only releases, but for the most part, it's the same catalog. So showing up wherever our customer is shopping. And from there, we really think about that channel in this year, really from a brand perspective and how we can lean into that channel and divest in some of the awareness driving tactics on Amazon to reinvest it off platform. Because we've seen our greatest return when we invest in Slumberkins, the business as a whole, through paid advertising, organic marketing, whatever it might be. We inevitably see that lift on Amazon. We actually have been tracking data that shows 2 days after we increase or decrease ad spend on Meta, we see that effect in our top line Amazon sales. We know there's an impact there. So Amazon is a part of the ecosystem. We're there for our consumers when they want to shop there, but it is just one piece. And everything that happens off Amazon is fueling what happens on Amazon.
The influence, I know we spoke about attribution a little bit on influencers specifically. I'm curious, when you think you have all this sort of off-channel spend and ultimately you see that flow into Amazon, which is common, that becomes the point of purchase. But do you do anything around trying to do affiliates or anything with those influencers where you're incentivizing them for those conversions? Or it's an awareness play first and foremost, and then the conversions are correlative?
We've tried two things in that space with Amazon. So we have tried starting our influencers and our influencer affiliates on Amazon. We'll give them different attribution tracking links. And on a Prime Day event, we'll send that to them and say, for 2 days, you can share your link, you'll earn whatever, we'll get the brand referral bonus. And we tried that once. We ended up out of over 300 influencers. We only saw conversions from a handful, which was surprising. We're currently testing creator connections.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, so they've made some updates there, and I hear they have more updates coming. And we tested it once last year as well, and it didn't perform as well. This year, it's performing a little bit better. We're getting a little bit more pickup, and we're actually seeing much stronger content than we were seeing the first time that we tried it as well. So I think whatever they're doing to refine the program is working, and that's something that we're going to keep leaning into.
Cool. Of course, we have to touch the last thing that was the buzz of eTail. And then just in general, I know a big focus for you and Slumberkins for the past year, which is this sort of reconfiguring of optimization for the search everywhere that you talk about, search everywhere optimization of wherever the customer is discovering us, inclusive of AI platforms. How do we show up there in the best way possible? Can you give us the kind of high level of, if we looked at you a year ago and the Slumberkins strategy, and then today, what are those elements that you now incorporate to serve that new sort of environment?
Absolutely. So this didn't exist a year ago in our world. We were very light users in terms of AI a year ago. So both internal and external. What I've really loved about this, and I can't take credit for search everywhere optimization. Someone on LinkedIn said that, and I thought it was genius because then we don't activate the SEO acronym. But it's true. You're searching on LLMs, you're searching on traditional search engines, you're searching on social, YouTube. That's always been the case. And now AI has just been the latest disruptor to that. What I love about this move for chat that I believe ChatGPT is really leading is that it's making those channels that are easy to neglect even more important. It's hard to invest as a business in your organic marketing channels that are just slower to grow. And this is making it a requirement. As the algorithms change and you're trying to get your brand to show up for whatever users are searching in LLMs, you have to have PR hits. You have to be on organic social. Organic social posts are now showing up in Google's AI overview results. This is all a different landscape, and it would have been really easy to reduce spend in some of those areas. And this is forcing brands to look at what's important, what resonates organically, and really lean into that. It's really great timing that this is happening at a time that we were already starting to move in that direction. So we're hopeful that this is a good propeller forward for us. We're seeing that the traffic that comes through LLMs, predominantly ChatGPT, stays on our site 5 times longer than traffic that comes from other sources. It is driving qualified traffic. It's just not high volume yet. We're trying to truly be at the edge of that so that when it becomes more mainstream and more widely used, we can show up where parents need us.
I think that's the key to all of this is you have to start dipping your toe. There's no playbook that exists yet. You have to just start working toward it.
No, there is no playbook.
Now, I do believe our conversation is pretty much complete because we did bring in AI. We cannot have a conversation about strategy in any way, shape, or form without touching on it. Kelsey, it was great talking with you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat with us, and looking forward to hearing more about Slumberkins in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. It was great chatting with you guys.
Thanks.